And good evening, everyone. I got to make sure because the show this morning, my times are going to be confusing. And to let everybody know, this is the first episode of the Con Hour segment. We're going to be calling this Volume 1.1. And we are here today with Danika Bloom, who is a USA Today best-selling author.
Hello.
And have to ask, how has your week been going so far?
We have sun in the rainy Northwest, Pacific Northwest, so it's a good week. I'm happy.
You want some of our heat to go with that?
No, I would love it, but no, other people would be kind of disappointed to be getting Texan weather up here, I think.
So I have to ask, so our viewers know, what kind of books do you write?
I write steamy romantic comedy. So I write books that have pictures of man chest on them.
And where can we find you at on some of those?
Well, you can find me on Amazon. All my books are on Amazon. And my website's not 100% up to date, but the best place there. And for readers, BookBub and Goodreads. So Danika Bloom, pretty easy. Find me there.
And I have to ask, what inspired you to start writing?
Well, okay. So what inspired me to start writing originally, I've been a career ghostwriter, a technical writer. So that's just always been who I was. And it was, I'm going to tell this story. My very first novel that I wrote was just the year I turned 40. I went through a surprise divorce. And at 40, I had to start. I didn't have to. I went a little bit mad and I started dating again. And so I started writing. I wrote this manuscript called Drinking Scotch with Strangers and thought I can write a novel about all of these crazy experiences. And it was fun, and it was not a novel. And it was my first foray into writing fiction. And from there, I wrote more. And then I ended up writing a book called Mother Teresa's Advice for Jilted Lovers, which it was fun writing. And the thing I think that kept me writing and then moving into the romance genre, because Mother Teresa's Advice for Jilted Lovers is more women's fiction, paranormal, is the community. That's what kind of brought me into romance, and that's what keeps me in writing romance. It's a fantastic community of people who support each other. There's no competition. It's just like, how can we all lift each other up? And I love it. I absolutely love it.
I love that within communities. It really is a really good thing. Now, do you do NaNoWriMo or any of that?
I have definitely done NaNoWriMo. Mother Teresa's Advice was written, the first 50,000 words of that was written during NaNoWriMo. I'm kind of a rebel. I'm a nano rebel. So, if anyone knows the way NaNoWriMo works, November 1st, you start with a blank page. November 30th, you're allowed to have an outline, but I'm not an outliner. I am some people call it a pantser. I prefer to think of it as a discovery writer. So I can't start with any kind of a plan. So I will rebel, and sometimes I'll work with something that's already started and set myself some targets. But for the most part, I don't need NaNoWriMo anymore because I'm writing pretty well every single day. And I've got that, 1,666 words is kind of it's a normal day for me. And that's what a NaNoWriMo day would be. It'd be, 30 days, 50,000 words divided by 30 days is 1,667 words, I think. So, yeah.
Well, first time I tried to do an outline, I ended up ripping it to shreds.
You know, there's some of us, when I have written, because when I first started writing, people told me, and my very first manuscript had no story thread, and so it was smart advice to say maybe you should outline the story and know where you're going. But subsequently, I have tried to outline, and by the time I get the outline done, I'm like, yeah, I'm done this story. I don't care anymore. So I'm one of those people who has to discover the story and the characters as I go. Otherwise, I get a little bit bored.
And CJ says, hey.
Hi, CJ.
And, and you're going to be part of Loveapalooza, I believe it is.
I am going to be part of Loveapalooza. Yeah.
And how does that process go for authors who want to be part of that? Do they have to get invited to it, or?
I think it was a double thing. So I was invited quite early on, and but then I know they also had it open if authors wanted to apply to come in. But I think because we're launching, I think it's next week, right? I suspect, but I don't know for sure. But that's all closed, because my gosh, the work that those organizers are doing for Loveapalooza is insane. It's insane. I've never seen an online conference like the one that they're organizing. It's I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yes, it's from June 17th to June 26th, if I got the dates right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I know you just said you're a pantser and all that, but like Nanowrimo, you just said, but do you prefer writing at home? Do you prefer writing at coffee shops? Is there certain settings that you prefer?
I am definitely a write at home person. I honestly, okay, so COVID, I thought before COVID, my husband was threatening to retire. And I've been working from home as a freelance writer for over 20 years now. And when my husband started threatening retiring, I thought, oh, dear God, that's going to end our marriage, or it's going to end my career. Like, we can't cohabitate because I work from home. In fact, COVID, he worked from home for 2 years, and we figured out a really great rhythm. But like, I'm locked in the office. I put a little note outside on the door that said, don't disturb me. And we'll see if that works. But we've got dogs who don't understand, and they will bust into doors and stuff. But yeah.
They don't give you your privacy like you
See,
want.
and there it is. The dogs just came home, and there's the door busted open. All right.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you have any other conventions that you try to do? I know we talked a little bit about this beforehand, but is this the only one? Do you try to do others, book signings?
Yeah, I have done all of those things. I've spoken at libraries, and I've done conferences in Vancouver, British Columbia, which is where I'm from. But I got to tell you, I am one of those classic writers who is truly an introvert, and I really love the online thing. I don't ever want to have to go back to in person ever again, ever. I really don't.
So with your website, can they purchase a signed book from you?
That's a fabulous question. And if someone emails me, I can make that happen. I don't have all of my books as paperback right now. I'm working on covers for them. Right now, I've got my first romance. Here, I can show you how handsome he is. I mean, I just love this guy. So that's Nick. He's a firefighter. And so you can get that one. It's a hefty book. That's 90,000 words. And then my most recent one is one of his brothers, who is not a firefighter, and that one's called Frisky with My Bestie. But that one is just it's a novella, so you can get that as a large print paperback.
Very nice. And just for those who aren't able to see it,
oh my goodness! Oh, that's so you can see the difference. That's the ebook, and there's an explanation as to why it's different, and that has to do with advertising. This guy doesn't respond well to ads. The other guy does better. But I like the first guy better.
There we go. Now, with Loveapalooza, I know you're going to be busy probably for the next 2 weeks, but you're also doing a speaking engagement there. What day and what time would that be if somebody wants to hear you there?
I have not been given the day and time that I'm live. So
shame on them.
I don't know. I know that there's a pre-recorded 20-minute session which every author who's participating has to do something that's specifically for readers. And most of them, as I understand, are going to be talking about day in the life of an author and stuff like that. I decided to get a little bit political, and I'm talking about the impact of piracy, and I share my income earnings and income earnings from some of my romance friends, because there's been a trend in the last 6 months that on TikTok to buy books from romance writers and then return them, and then also around piracy. Shocking numbers of people think that it's a victimless crime. So I talk about that. And then with the other presentation, if you're an aspiring romance author, I'm going to be doing a 1-hour live on kind of mindset. That's my area of, I guess, expertise. I know craft, but really it's around the mindset and overcoming the negative voices. And so we'll be doing some really concrete, fun exercises. And then there's another hour of just live Q&A with me. But I don't know what day that's on yet.
That's kind of interesting that you said that, because I thought beforehand, before we even got on here, I was like, I don't think I could do a romance novel. I'm more of the fantasy, fiction, and Western.
I could never do fantasy. Fantasy to me, completely different.
It is a completely different mindset.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, I think it's a completely different skill set. Like, my strength in writing is characters and dialogue. Like, most authors have an amount, like they have a skill area that there's something they're really good at, something that might come easily. And I can get into the head, or they can get into my head, of characters. And I do that with ease. And according to people who read my books, I do that well. Setting, on the other hand, I just suck. Like, honestly, you could stick them on a stage and the whole world could go around and I don't even see what's going on around them. Fantasy, I think that's at least 50% setting and environment and textures and feelings. Mm. I couldn't write fantasy, no matter how hard I tried. So, yeah.
It is, like we said, it is a completely different mindset. And it's the same thing, because I'm actually multi-genre. I have a Western also. And trying to write the Western was extremely hard, going from a fantasy setting.
Yeah. So, well, imagine me in my day job when I first started. I was writing financial literacy curriculum. So I'm writing financial literacy curriculum for part of my day and steamy romance for the other part. They're different enough that I never got them confused, but still, you have to access a different part of your brain, definitely.
I would hate to see those get mixed.
Yeah. It might make financial literacy more interesting, actually.
I could see people's reactions now. So, are there any words of encouragement you might have for a new author?
Yeah, honestly, my biggest word of encouragement is find your people. Like, find the community of 1 or 10 or 100, if you can, of people who are doing what you're doing, and understand that it takes time, that you're going to have setbacks, that you're going to have a little voice saying, why are you doing this? And you have to have people in your life who will be encouraging. And it's not always our best friend or our parents or our siblings or our spouses. Like, if they're not writers, they just don't get it, right? Like, so I think my word of encouragement is trust that you can do this, and find the people who will remind you of that when you have the concern that you're not able to do it.
Definitely. And one thing that I would like to add is, don't try to say that you're never done. Yeah. Because if you keep saying, oh, I got to do this, I got to fix this, I got to fix this, I got to fix this, you're always going to find a problem, no matter what.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Yeah, ship it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Honestly, and depending on what genre, I imagine it's different for different genres, but when you're looking at, for instance, romance readers are voracious, right? And they are generous for the most part. So yes, you want to ship your best, and you want to publish your best product that you can do, but it's never going to be, there's no such thing as perfect, right? It's just, yeah. Trust your story, trust your characters.
CJ just said, you have to
Yes,
pull the trigger at some point and hope it flies.
absolutely, CJ. Yeah.
Um, I just had a question in my head and my mind just went blank. I hate it when that happens.
Hate that.
So, Loveapalooza, you said they can email you to get a signed
Please
copy.
do. And yeah, so email me at Danika with a K at danikabloom.com if you're interested. And you know, the great thing with Amazon, if you're thinking, well, I'm not sure if I want to get a paperback if I don't even know if I like this author's writing, Amazon will let you read the first 10% of the book for free in the, go look inside. So if you're not familiar with that, go look inside, read the first couple chapters, see if you're engaged, and then let me know if you'd like a paperback. And this handsome guy.
And I do want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you. It was a lot of fun,
much
Greg.
appreciated. Much appreciated. And I want to let everybody know, I don't know how many times the segment's going to be coming on, but we're going to be working on getting artists, authors, whoever we can for 15 to 20 minutes, and it's definitely going to spotlight them. I have all her links online, so go check them out. And I also have Loveapalooza, so maybe they have that posted when she's going to be going live if you're interested in listening to her speak.
Thank you.
So everyone, we will catch y'all on our next show. And I know the Con Hour will be Thursday at 6 p.m. with Sean Peck, heavy metal lead vocalist of Death Dealers. So until then, adios.